We want to thank Next Level Marketing for being our opening sponsor on the podcast. If you have social media that you use for marketing, you need to check out Next Level Marketing and follow them on Facebook. You can also reach them at Gary Bontrager Consulting on our website, www.garybontrager.com. They will do a free audit for you and check out what your social media, how it's performing, what loopholes there are, and how you can tighten it up and be more effective with your marketing. They will help put strategies together to use organic growth to maximize the dollars that you do spend. We appreciate them being an associate sponsor with us on this Mindset Growth podcast and enjoy what they do for us. This is a company that we work with and we endorse, and we don't take that lightly. My name is Gary Bontrager, host of Mindset Growth Podcast. I have Heather, my co-host, here with me today. Heather, I'm excited for our next guest. He's a young entrepreneur that has really pushed out and is trying to do great things in his industry and is taking steps to accomplish those. I'm excited to ask some questions and get some conversation going. And hopefully these are things that will motivate others and maybe give them some resources where they can find some support in what they're doing as well. So with that, I welcome Travis Beachy to our podcast. How are you, Travis?
I'm great. Hello, everybody. Good to be with you, Gary and Heather. Good to meet y'all. Hey, I don't know about that word entrepreneur. It's always something I struggle with. Do you like that word for yourself personally?
You know, I don't know. People have just called me that for so many years, and the first time I didn't even know what it meant. So I've kind of just adapted to it. I guess I probably consider myself more a creative thinker than I do, and I guess I don't put too much into that piece of it. But what's an alternative for you?
Just a guy who doesn't like to work for anybody but himself.
Independent, you're saying?
Just a guy who's just not a good employee. I'm just not a good employee. So that's why I am where I am right now.
That's why you don't want to be called an entrepreneur either. You don't want to be pigeonholed into stereotypes.
That's right. Well, when I think about entrepreneur, I have this visual of someone who's just loves taking risks and loves inventing and try. I don't really think of myself as like an inventor or I don't feel like I come up with a lot of original thoughts. I just try to take what's already out there and make it better and make it work for myself and improve on it and do it kind of like the Travis Beachy way. And so that's why like entrepreneur is always kind of interesting to me. Like I guess you could say I fit into some of that, but I'm more just a guy who's most days I just feel self-employed, and right. Not this entrepreneur, So
well, a lot of what we do it's really our own brands, and that's really what you're creating there. The fact is, there's nothing really new left to create anymore as far as it's all out there. But we take pieces, and that's why I like certain authors. You may like certain different authors. Heather may, but we all learn from different people we connect with, but it still kind of ends up with our own story. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I'd like to know a little bit about your immediate family, like you yourself, but also where you came from and how you grew up.
Yeah. So little fun fact, I was born in Central America down in Belize City, wow. Belize. My mom and dad were missionaries, grew up in the Mennonite conservative culture, and my mom and dad were missionaries down there. I think they got down there in 82, I think, and then I was born in 84.
Okay.
And then they left in 85. So, my mom almost died having me. I was a big baby. They called me their rice and bean baby, and about 10 pounds. And my mom actually she needed blood when I was being born. She needed blood, and they found the last pint of blood with her blood type in the entire in the entirety of Belize. And she got that last pint of blood to keep her alive. And she made it, I made it, and here we are today. Wow. So that's a little fun fact. But, really grew up in Plain City, Ohio then, in the Mennonite community there. central, just a good old Midwest boy. Grew up working with in my dad's business. My dad was building homes, and I don't know what year it was. I think I was about 12. My dad was building, big multi-million-dollar homes in Columbus with some of his brothers, and he wanted to go out on his own, teach his boys. There's 4 of us boys in the family, and then 2 girls. He wanted to teach us a trade and wanted to be on his own. And so I learned the skill of carpentry and hard work and working in the cold, working in the heat. And, learn that skill over the next, from like age of 12 till, I was doing that really until I was 23, 24, and was homeschooled. So that's another little fun fact. I was homeschooled back when homeschooling was not cool like it is today. And that was a challenging thing, when you're at an impressionable age and you want to have fun with your friends, you feel like you're getting pulled out of that social environment. Being homeschooled was looked at very like you were a weirdo, back in the 90s, early 90s. And so that was challenging to work with. All of us kids sat around in the living room. I remember mom and dad broke the news to us and we were just crying and yelling at them. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do this. And it just felt like it was what we needed to do. And so off we went. And, a lot of good things came from that. We were able to do our school from like 7 o'clock in the morning till like 12 or 1 o'clock. And then mom would drive us out to the job site as boys. And we would work with dad for the rest of the afternoon. And so we learned, how to earn an income at a young age. We were able to count, like an hour of working with dad as towards our schooling. Because in Ohio, you had to have like 600 hours of school over the course of a year. And so we were able to use that as part of our schooling. And so we learned in the books in the morning, then we went out and worked with our hands and learned in the real world in the afternoon. So ton of, really learned a lot of lessons from that. And then I don't know how deep you want to go here, how much you want to know, but we ended up going to a place called Hillcrest nursing home to volunteer as a CNA. So I got my CNA license there.
Oh, wow.
This was when I was 21. No, I turned 21 when I was there. So I went when I was 20, turned 21 there, was there for 15 months as a CNA. So learned a lot of stuff there, man. When you work with old people, it really gives you perspective in life. It really teaches you, especially when you're 20 years old, teaches you a lot. So that was kind of the first time that I had been gone from home. The Mennonite culture doesn't necessarily push college.
Right.
And so didn't go to college. And just talking about school, I did not like school. I'm not a good book learner. So, thankfully mom and dad understood that. They were okay with us going to 10th grade and then getting our GED. So I do not have a official school diploma. I have a GED, and that's as far as my education went, as far as, schooling education.
Right.
But that was the first time that I've been gone from home that long. So it was really kind of a, learning how to live on my own, so to speak. Now we were in a dorm setting with other guys, and, we were well taken care of, but we were paid very, we just got a certain amount of money per month just for like spending money. The rest of our expenses were paid for. And the money that we would have normally gotten paid if we were like regular employees went to overseas missions. So you were there serving, and instead of them paying you a full salary, that money went to overseas missions. So it was a fun thing. Met my wife there, met Rosa there. She was teaching school at the little private Mennonite school there. And she grew up in Texas, so she had come up to Arkansas. I don't think I mentioned that Arkansas is where this place was at. And that's where we met. And then we dated for 6 months. We're engaged for 6 months, and got married. And then moved to Ohio, and took a Texas girl from Texas to Ohio. Lived there for 4 years. That was super hard for her. And after 4 years, it was time to go back to Texas. And so we've been in Texas since 2013.
Well, Texas is a wonderful state. I have a fair amount of family in Texas, and I can imagine the weather and all of that would have been difficult for her.
Very difficult. Yep.
And I'm familiar with Hillcrest Home. I've had family that went through there, and I've been there myself a few times. So
very nice.
Yep,
yeah.
I understand that culture and what you were doing there. So it was. I think a lot of those programs actually date back to when there were conscientious objectors
That's right.
in World War II and Vietnam and things like that. People would go give service publicly, and that was one way they would do that. When those programs ended, just for listeners, there's groups in the Mennonite culture that then kept programs like this alive, really because they felt it was beneficial in a way for somebody to give back to a cause greater than themselves. So it was
That's right.
It was good. It's I think everybody should leave home at some point, do something, whether even college or what have you, but interesting. So you've got children now. You live in Texas.
Now we got kids. We live in Texas. Been here since 2013, and we live in a town called Temple, which is between Waco and Austin, kind of in the central part of the state. And our business is up in the Waco area. We have two girls and one boy. We've got twins. The first time my wife got pregnant was with twins, and boy girl twins. So they're 4 now. And then we had a little baby last September. So she's 6 months, going on 7 months now. Little baby girl. So we got 2 4-year-olds and a 6-month-old.
So you've got a busy.
You're busy.
Yeah. Yep.
Very busy household.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy how you just. How you adapt and you do it, right. Like sometimes I just think about how are we doing this, and it's not perfect. That's for sure. It's messy. It's a disaster sometimes, but we're doing it. You do right. it, and you're trying to build a business at the same time, and so I don't know. We're just doing it and trying to do the best we can as we go.
Yeah.
So how difficult was it if it was hard for your wife to adjust to the Midwest or Ohio? How big of an adjustment was it for you to go to Texas?
It was not huge, I wouldn't say. The biggest thing was now Texas is not as much like this now, but this was back in 2013. It still felt like Texas was behind on some stuff. So you would have some things going on up north or in the Northeast that they were doing things before, like the South and the Southwest was doing them. And so there were some things that I felt like, hey, these guys are a little bit behind on some of this stuff. Why are they not doing these things? So I got adjusted to that, but there's not much of that anymore. The heat was something to get adjusted to. Sure. I started my own construction business when I came down here. And I did it for 1.5 years. And when I went through that first summer working outside, I said, this ain't it. We're going to have to figure something else out. This thick-blooded, northern boy is not going to survive these summers. And so that was kind of the journey of trying to figure something else out. And right. So now we're in sales and marketing and in retail. And, not only do I love it from the standpoint of being able to not work out in the 110-degree heat every day, but I love it from all the challenging and it's just a better fit for my personality. But I always thought if I'd move somewhere, the South would be great. Texas is technically the Southwest, but and I didn't figure Texas would be a horrible place to live.
Sure.
And I've always kind of felt like I'm the kind of person that can make it a go wherever I am, or try to make the best of it wherever I am, within reason there. And so I enjoy it, man. I'm excited to raise the kids here. I think we're here for good. Really miss the people. I love the Midwest has got just such great people. Love the miss the people from back in Plain City for sure. But Texas is awesome as well. Good people down here. I miss the seasons. Texas does not have seasons, so it's just hot or cold. And I miss the seasons. And outside of that, I love it here. It's just a business friendly environment. We lean more conservative in our social beliefs and in our political beliefs, and so it's a more conservative leaning state, which I love. So that we feel at home with that. And then there's just a ton of diversity here too. So you've got places like Austin, and then you got places like Waco and Bryan College Station, and out conservative out west. There's a big mixture of liberal and conservative here. So you have a lot of flavor here too. So you're not just stuck in a bubble.
Sure.
So I know that we're going to move on to, Gary has plenty of questions about, the shed business and Shed University, right?
Yep.
But let's give you some questions that you aren't ready for here. We call these our rapid fire questions.
I love it.
Okay. So let's start with this one. Do you collect anything?
No. Well, I mean, you could look at our cupboard and see the vast amount of Yeti cups I have in there and think I collect Yeti cups. I do love me some Yeti cups. No, man, I don't. I don't consider myself a collector.
Do you know how difficult it is sometimes to walk past that big display in Shields? I don't know if you have Shields in Texas, but those big display of Yeti, or even there's another brand now, and I just stare at these cups. Don't need it. Keep moving. Keep moving.
Yeah. Well, I'm a branding guy. So
yeah.
Yeti's branding makes me so happy. And so it's just easy for me to give you their money. Plus, they're a Austin-based company. So you go to Austin, you can go to their store, you can go to their original store, and it's such a fun shopping experience. I'm just a sucker for good branding and good product.
Okay. Right up your alley.
I'm going to back up one real quick question before we move on too much further. Do you have a morning routine?
Yes. Yes. It is wake up, get a drink of water, check my phone to see if there's any emergencies or any fires I need to put out, and then go to the bathroom. And then it's basically game on with the kids from there. Yeah. So, I would love to get up, earlier than them, an hour or two, to be able to get some reading done, get some exercise in. But, I'll be honest, we're just using that time to sleep right now. Sleep is at the top of the priority list right now. So right now we are trying to maximize our sleep. We're still getting up. I don't know when the last time is that I had a night where I went to bed at 11 o'clock and I woke up at 7 and I never got interrupted. Yep. So we're just in that time of our life. So then it's game on with the kids. I normally go out and make them breakfast while my wife makes their beds and changes the diaper on the 6-year-old and gets her dressed. And then
I hope you mean 6-month-old there.
Oh, 6-month-old. Yeah. 6-month-old. Yeah. The 6-month-old. Yep. And then we feed the twins breakfast, kind of get them situated. If it's so they have this little Mother's Day out thing. So that's Monday and Wednesday. So if it's a Monday or Wednesday, we're getting all their stuff. Their lunch is packed for that, getting them ready to head out the door. Then I go get showered and ready. And again, if it's a Monday or Wednesday, I take them to their little school, drop the twins off, and then I head to work. If it's not a Monday or Wednesday, then I just leave home and either head to my first client meeting. If I don't have any client meetings, I head straight to the office then.
It's interesting because when we ask guys men and women about that question on morning routines, if they've got little kids, I had 4 kids in 5 years, and it was survival of the fittest. Yep. You just kind of hope you could stay awake after they went to sleep, so you had a little time to kind of shut it down. Yeah. So
that decompression time is important.
Yeah. So no, I understand that. It's just a lot of activity going on when you have kids that age. Here's another one of those rapid fires. What is something you think you know a lot about but really don't? Or probably don't?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I feel like everybody's got something we like to talk about. When it comes down to it, we really don't know as much as we.
That's a good question. Sometimes you think that your brand is bigger and better than what it is. You think more people know about you than what they actually do. When in reality, hardly anybody knows about you, especially when you're at my level. And sometimes you think that you're more known than you are. So that could be one thing. That's the first thing that pops into my head. That's a good question. I don't know if I've thought about that before.
Well, maybe it was something for you to think about.
Yeah, I liked it. I like it.
Our last.
I'm sure my wife would have something. If you'd ask my wife, I'm sure she'd say,
that is probably
this guy's full of it over
angle.
here. Yep.
What's interesting is your answer there. Podcast that we just did, she works a lot with branding, and she said that is the good news and the bad news is people aren't thinking about your brand.
They're not.
So take it.
That's right.
Take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What is your favorite hobby?
Oh man. So I don't know if you really consider this a hobby, but I'm not like a hobby guy. I don't know that I actually, I'm just not a hobby guy. I like the work that I do, and I enjoy working, and I enjoy growing myself as a person and advancing. That sounds really like that sounds really like kind of douchey, but I really do. I enjoy making content for social media. I love learning more about marketing and branding and stuff like that. But if I'm just gonna be like, if I just need some time for myself, I love going to the theater, watching a good movie by myself with some popcorn, sit in the dark, not be bothered by anybody, nobody beside me. I strategically pick seats that nobody, now you have to like pick your seat when you go to the theater. So I'll strategically pick a seat where there's not a ticket beside me purchased. And then I cross my fingers and hope nobody else buys a ticket beside me. So I have nobody beside me. I'm just there by myself, me and the movie and the popcorn and my own thoughts for 2 hours. And I really like that. That's really fun for me. And I like doing some of that stuff by myself too. I'll go like take myself on a date. I'll go out to eat by myself sometimes and, sit there with my own thoughts and some good food and just have some me time. So not a hobby thing, but that's what I like to do. Now, obviously not with kids. Like we like going to parks and taking them on bike rides and exploring different places. So we'll be doing more of that type of stuff now that that the twins are 4 years old and they started soccer practice. So, last night they started soccer. So last night we were at soccer practice, but I'm not a collector guy. I'm not a hobby guy. I don't know if this is a healthy thing or a non-healthy thing, but I just like to feel at the end of the day like I did something that day. Yeah. And sitting at the movie theater makes me feel like I accomplished something too, because I know it's like good, like zen and relaxation. And then I love good conversations, man. I love, if my brother calls me up in the evening, we talk for 2 hours. I love that stuff. Or another friend, and we just I love good conversation too.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned, you like that time to yourself to just kind of regroup and whatever. And we think about that so much for women, like I just need a ladies' day, go to the spa, get our hair done, something by ourselves that we can just appreciate the downtime. And I think that you don't hear men talk about that as much, but it's important for men as well. So
I agree with that.
Yep.
It's one of those things. I think you get busy with the day to day and you're answering the phone, dealing, with employees and clients and all of that. And I think so often, in our country, we hear a lot more about mental health than we ever have. And it's probably a good thing.
Yep.
It's one of those things I think we've ignored a lot. So I think it's just as important for men as it can be for women to find those times.
I think women are just more self-aware sometimes than the men are with that.
And there's that stigma too, that the man has to be the strong one or is expected to be the strong one in the family and do the work and provide. And
That's right. Yeah. 100%. I think, I love all that stuff. I mean, look, I'm not a dude's dude. I'm just not. I went hunting one time and I fell asleep in the tree stand. I said, that's it for me. This life ain't for me. I don't have the patience for fishing. I don't enjoy loud trucks. I just like some other things, that guys like, now I do like sports. So, I love going, like, that's my favorite date night is me and Rosa going to a Baylor football game at 7:00 in the evening under the lights. It's a big game. And that is like, so I love sports. But no, dude, I love a good massage. I like, I'll throw this one out there to you. You've probably not had a guy say this on your podcast. I like a good mani-pedi.
Nice.
And
Hey.
I like a good eyebrow wax.
Nice.
So, definitely like some of the more softer things in life, I guess you might call it.
It's all right. There's some closet men out there that like those same things.
And not so closet men out there too.
I know. I do it too sometimes. There's nothing wrong with it. It's relaxing.
Yeah, it's always funny when you go into the to the spa and you see another guy sitting in there. You just don't say anything. No. You just kind of nod your head at him.
Unspoken understanding.
Nothing I need to say here. We're just going to move on and enjoy our time.
Yeah. That's right.
What's some of the best advice you were ever given?
Oh man, just do everything you can to be to know yourself, be self-aware, and the more you can know yourself, the more you can be in the flow, be more of what God made you to be, and be more valuable to society, and have a happier life. If you can be self-aware on what you're good at, what you're not good at, what your makeup is, and then just love yourself for that, whether it's what you hope it is or what sometimes we spend so much time trying to be somebody we're not. And it just leads to so much unhappiness. And so just knowing yourself, knowing yourself, trying to figure out what makes you tick, and then having the courage to follow those things and to embrace them. And whether it seems, odd to society or weird to society but just to be happy within yourself.
It's interesting. John Maxwell talks about you need to know yourself to grow yourself. And it's something that I've become a lot more aware of the last few years. But the more we do understand what sets us off or gets us to dig in, just gives us all that stability. Those are just things that help us tremendously when we're trying to work with other people. And so I find that very valuable. That's a high self-awareness for you to have that. And I don't know, the next question here, we talk about what brought you to Texas. You kind of talked about that a little bit, but I am curious to know, and it kind of ties in with the next question we have a little bit maybe, but how did you've mentioned marketing, you've mentioned sales. There was a third thing you'd mentioned, but I don't think branding. But you've not really mentioned what it is that you do. And I know you're in the storage shed industry. So I find it interesting that you list out 3 things that you do, but you haven't necessarily picked out, and talked about the product. And I guess talk about that a little bit. Why, is the product just a byproduct of those other 3 things? How do you view that, or what's your visualization for that?
Yeah, so I love, that's a great question. I love it gives me energy to think about how are we going to get someone who knows nothing about what we have to offer, energized and excited about what we have to offer, and how can the solution that we're providing for the world, for our fellow humans, how can we make the paths intercross? How can they know about us at the same time that they have the problem, that we can then be the solution for that problem and serve humanity in that way? So it just happens to be sheds right now. It just happens to be, what we're doing. So I love that kind of psychology and game, and it's something that I love learning about. But yeah, so Farm and Yard is the name of our business. It's in just to go into that a little bit, it's in Robinson, which is a town right beside Waco. We're 10 minutes from Baylor's campus, 10 minutes from Magnolia Market. So if you've ever been to Chip and Joanna's silos, that whole complex, unbelievable complex. Which, by the way, if you're a female and or if you're a male listening to this, and your wife or your girlfriend has ever begged you to, let's go down and see what's going on down in Waco at Magnolia, Just listen to them go. You'll have a good time. There's plenty of stuff for guys to do too. So, that is what we do every day. We don't manufacture anything. We don't build anything. We are on the retail side of the shed industry, the portable building industry. We started Farm and Yard because it was an opportunity that kind of fell into our lap. But our whole vision with it is to provide solutions for Texans to have a great buying experience and a great product, to provide solutions for them for structures in their backyard, whether it's just for their mower, whether it's for a pool shed, a party barn, but and to try to give them some kind of experience that's different than going to Lowe's or Home Depot, or going to some of these shed lots where nobody's there and the grass is growing up over the buildings, and but to give them a branded, personalized, custom experience with a great sales team, and honestly, just being a place to shop that I would like to shop if I needed a shed, or if I needed a carport, or a chicken coop, or a greenhouse. We also do a really fun line of kids' play sets, which is so fun, to bring see those big smiles on those kids' faces when they go down the slide for the first time in their backyard, all that stuff. So those are some of the products that we sell. And then, my day to day is I still do some of the sales, but I do all of our social media, all of our branding, all of our marketing, all the work on our website, coaching the team, and then working with our install crew on the playset side of things. And then just working with our vendors, keeping the building, the relationship good between our manufacturers, and working with our manufacturers, and, always making sure that we're partnered with manufacturers who are aligned with the Farm and Yard vision and goals.
We want to thank Gary Bontrager Consulting for being a sponsor on the Mindset Growth Podcast. There's a variety of services they offer. They have human resources for one. They have a sales program. They also work with the financials, whether you need to help set up your QuickBooks or go with a high-level person that can help you do benchmarking, budgeting, and the likewise. They also do a lot of leadership training, whether you are the business owner, manager, or are just leaders in departments. They can tailor those packages for you. Reach out to them for a free consult, and they will see what your needs are and offer different opportunities for you to put in motion to take your business to the next level. They have been successful over the past few years in helping organizations not only grow, but grow as much as 200%, 300%, and 400% in a 12-month period. Certainly, they understand it takes a strong foundation, and there are years where there may be no growth leading up to this as they put the right pieces in place. Reach out to them at www.garybontrager.com. You can reach out to them on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter and get the free advice that they offer, and that may be just what you need to set you on a different path to lead you forward and be successful in your business and your life. We appreciate them supporting us. So what came first? The sheds, the products, or some of those other things that you were mentioning, the marketing, the sales?
Well, the sheds came first. I started in the shed industry in 2013 or 2014, I forget now. And I helped another manufacturing company that was in New York open up a branch in Texas. And so I was responsible for everything: the building, the delivering, the marketing, the sales, the whole thing, accounts payable, the whole deal. And so we sold the shed, we built the shed, we delivered it. So I really was able to get trained and know about the point A to point B, from conception to that shed being in the customer's backyard. And then from that is where, I always kind of, when you work in one thing, like I worked at that point, I had worked in construction or built things with my hands for going on 15 years. And at that point I was like, okay, I feel like it's time for a new challenge. What about this other thing? I always enjoyed, so when I was doing this, I enjoyed the sales and marketing side. Of all the things I was responsible for, I enjoyed the sales and marketing side of it the most, and that customer interaction part. And so when we had the opportunity in 2016 to take over a sales lot there in Robinson, the one we're still at. I jumped on it. We rebranded it, added more products, and actually made a brand out of it. It just was such a natural fit. I really enjoyed I enjoy the sales and because I feel like I kind of had the box checked almost. And I felt at that point in time, I was feeling very limited. Like I was feeling a lot of suffocation being on the job site, building things. I felt like I could only be at one place at one time. And there was all these other things happening that I could not be involved in because I had to focus on getting this shed built at this certain time so it could be delivered on the time that we had committed to the customer. And so with sales and marketing, I love being able to talk to 10 different customers all on the same day. I love being able to talk to, our website development team to work on the website. I love to be coaching a team member over here, and I can have all these different things going on. And it makes me feel less suffocated than just being stuck in one, narrow kind of position. Some people love that. It just was not my personality and what this, being self-aware of what was making me happy. It wasn't filling that tank.
Well, just for the viewers here as well, it's a good point when Travis is talking about knowing himself and some of the best advice he's gotten. This is certainly an example of that, of you understanding what it is that makes you feel fulfilled, what makes you tick, what gives you the drive and the energy. There's so many times I think people are stuck in positions and they don't know how to get out of them because they're just, this is what they know to do, but it's really not probably what's matching up to what's their best potential to do. And they don't know how to make those transitions. And there's friends, there's other people that can help you make that step, but it's just an example. I can see the passion visiting with you, Travis, about what you do. And that's why I point some of these things out as we go along. The one thing that's so interesting to me is, though, the shed thing you didn't really talk about. But it was working with the people, it was the sales piece, the marketing piece. It's all these other things that clearly that's what's driving and motivating you. And it's just a way for you to connect all those dots. So I hope for anyone listening, don't be afraid to take that step and just try something new. You can always go back and do what you've done before in most cases. But, if you find complete fulfillment in a different path, sometimes you can really create things much larger that you're not even aware of. So,
what's really where the magic is. I mean, if you think back at your life, you don't, the people that are the greatest, the people that you look up to, they didn't get there because they worked in something that they weren't excited about and that wasn't fulfilling. You only become great at things when you really, and you can only have longevity in things when you really enjoy them, when it feeds you every day and it fuels you. And this is just for the listeners. This is a very simple way for you to know if you're in that flow or not, is how you feel Sunday night when you're about to get the week started.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If you are sad about Monday morning, there's time you got to make a change. If you are happy Sunday night, if you are happy when you wake up Monday morning because you get to go do the thing you love, you're in the right place.
Right. And there's two aspects to that. Some people can tend to be negative, and it depends on what animal we feed. We also always, I'm going to always recommend people choose positivity, but it doesn't mean that pit in your stomach still is going to tell you, should I be doing this or should I not? So, look, there's times where you have to do things that you don't want to do for a period of time. So I'm not saying that that's like it's not a completely black and white statement. There are periods in time in your life where you have to suck it up and do things for a short period to get to the next step. Right.
But if you've consistently been feeling that pit in your stomach for years, you should probably listen to that.
Right. I would agree with that completely. So what motivates and drives you with the shed business?
Man, I just want to be different. I just want to give people a better buying experience. I want to give them a great product. I just want, in an industry that I love this industry, but this industry has so much opportunity for growth on the branding and marketing and customer experience side of things. And I saw that opportunity pretty early on, and that's all I've been trying to do since we started Farm and Yard, is just to be different. You know, we're never going to be the biggest, you know, out there. We're not trying to be the biggest. We're just trying to be different. We're just trying to give customers the Apple experience. You know, I mean, we're trying to give them the brands that I love shopping with. I shop with them because of the experience they give me, the product they give me, and how it makes me feel. And we're trying to do that for our clients and our customers. You know, I never would have thought that I would be selling sheds or in the shed industry. Will we be here for the next 30 years? I don't know that either, but right now it feels like the right place. It's, I love the industry from the standpoint that I'm not a suit and tie kind of guy. So I get to work in what I love, but I don't have to be somebody I'm not. I don't have to dress up to go to Wall Street, or I can just come in my jeans and my t-shirt, be myself. And I love that about this industry too. It's a very down to earth, blue collar industry.
Mm-hmm. So why don't you, shifting gears here a little bit, why don't you tell us about Shed University and what motivated you to start that?
Yeah, glad you guys asked about it. So that's something new that me and 3 other guys in the industry are creating right now. You know, it really is born out of, you know, again, something similar of why we started Farm and Yard. There is just very little representation for the shed seller in our industry. The shed industry as a whole is very fragmented. You know, if you look at the auto industry, they have a lot of entities and governing bodies and a lot of training, a lot of places that you can go to become, to learn how to have a successful car dealership. Mm-hmm. And there's, like, right now, if you are someone who's never been in the shed industry and you say, I'm kind of interested in this shed thing. I'm interested in opening up a retail location and having a profitable shed selling business. There's nowhere to go. Yeah. There's nowhere to go. There's no training. You have to basically just figure it out on your own. So it's born out of a desire to provide some high level training for new people coming into the shed sales, the sales side of the shed industry, and then also for salespeople that are in the shed industry. It can be a very lonely place to be. A lot of people are working out of a office by themselves. And the only interaction they have is who they talk to that day. There's no other team members. They have to continue to motivate and excite themselves every day in order to, like, if they've got a down day, they got to figure out how to deal with that. And there's no, like, support, for them. This used to be really prevalent. It's getting better, but it used to be very prevalent where you would partner up with a manufacturer and they would bring you 10 sheds and put it on your sales lot, throw some brochures on your desk and say, good luck, we hope you sell something. And there's just no training or anything like that. So it's something that's the shed industry has needed for a long time. The manufacturing side of the shed industry has a great convention every year where you can learn some things and meet with vendors, and there's kind of that side for the manufacturing side. The shed hauler side of the industry has multiple meetups throughout the year where guys get together with their trucks and they have camaraderie and they learn from each other. And the shed sales side of the business, I mean, these are the people that are selling they're selling the sheds, and then nothing happens until something is sold. And it just was so crazy to some of us that there is no training, no support, no community around us. And there's you could go down and make a list of why that hasn't happened yet. And so, but anyway, there's 4 of us that are pretty passionate about changing that. And so that's what Shed University was born out of. It's going to be coaching. It's going to be one-on-one coaching, potentially some group coaching that you can sign up for and have support. It's going to be just community. So we have a Facebook page that we want to create community around. There's also a group, a Facebook group that we can, that you can be a part of. And then we're going to have live events as well that you can come to. Right now we're starting off with once a year, but we can easily see that going to, 2 or 3 live events a year where you can come and meet other people in the industry and rub shoulders with other people and learn from experts and meet with vendors who can help you with, things in your business that can help you get where you want to go. So really it's Shed University is about community connection and training and growth for today's shed seller. And who knows, there's a lot of places where we think it could go. There's a lot of other avenues that we could go down. The 4 of us that are that are building this right now, we all have our own businesses, so we're busy with that too. So we don't want to bite off more than we can chew right now. So we're starting in kind of this narrow, just the sales, but there's other places in the shed industry that need this too, other support. So we'll see where it goes, but we're super excited. We're working on building out our first live event right now, building out our coaching. And I know we're talking to you guys about some of that with the coaching, which is exciting. So that's really the heart of it.
To me, it's just exciting to see you guys see a void or need and wanting to step up and meet that need. The name is catchy in itself. I just think it's very unique that you're going to find something. When I think of Shed University, I think of people are going to be able to go to get resources. Mm-hmm. And that's like, It ties right back to what you were talking about previously. Again, you were talking about marketing and sales and all these other things more than you were talking about the shed that you're selling. And so I can see your passion to serve other people. I know some of the other folks in that group that you're talking about, and I know what they're passionate about as well, which would be the same type of things within their own fields of interest. So I think outside of the fact it's just a great ambition to pursue, it's another aspect of giving back. And I think there's just lessons I want people to learn from that as they listen to this, that, the chance that you guys take is that you help others become maybe more successful than yourself, which always intrigues me if I could do that for someone. The other side of it is you can maybe help somebody compete against you. But, there's also market share out there if you have a higher recognition the whole organization, or as far as the whole industry, I should say, is elevated to a higher level. There's going to be room for all of that. And it's interesting in other industries, even as I work together with some of those, how I can have people that are 5 and 10 miles apart and they really are not even competing. It's
right.
It's because it comes back to those brands, and you talk about branding. And I see a lot of times, I think folks think about competing products, but I'll tell you what I believe competes is the brand. And what you're building is a brand. And if somebody else 5 miles down the road builds a different brand, you're not going to stumble over each other that much. There'll certainly be sometimes price and things that come into play, but it's I would challenge anyone listening to this to really listen to what even Travis is saying, because there's so much to do with how you brand yourself. And it's
that's right.
It makes a big difference. I mean, it's just, you give back to others, you're going to get what you want in the end. Yeah,
man, I believe that so much. And, whether you think you've got a brand today or not, whether you're a solo plumber or a solo baker, and you're just doing it out of your house, whether you think you've got a brand or not, you have a brand. The brand is you. It's your personality. It's your reflection. It's how, the products are interchangeable. There's no patented. In the shed industry, there's nothing patented. Everybody steals from everybody else when it comes to the actual product. But what nobody can steal from you is what's inside of you and your personality, how God created you, and how that is infused into your business and the experience that customers get because of you working within yourself and your self-awareness and serving out of that. So you're 100% right, man. It is brand trumps sales and product all day.
Yeah, it really what it comes down to is your reputation, and on
reputation.
And it's what people like to do business with, reputable people and communities. It's back to what you said, out of the box stores. They can go in there and they'll probably get an associate that doesn't really know. I mean, he knows some about sheds, but they'll never know what you know. But they're also going to deliver a different experience, and it's in every other industry. We can just start pulling industries out there, but you'll see car dealerships like you mentioned across the street from each other and beside each other, and some will always outperform others. It's just how they brand themselves. So,
yep, the fast food industry does this too. I mean, there's a reason that you see, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Wendy's, and Taco Bell all sitting on a corner.
Right.
They figured this out too. It just, it works. People know that that's the corner to go to grab some lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And once we get to that corner, we're going to figure out which of these we want to go to. But they know that's the corner to go to for lunch.
Yep.
If there's two of you in one location, there's a much better chance to draw a larger crowd to that area because of the variety. And then you actually do have a very close opportunity to display your type of service and product and your own brand, and that's usually where you can win out. So, often.
Look, and I think it's also great to say, like, hey, we don't actually do that here. That's not who we are. Mm-hmm. But these guys down the street, that's who they are. That's what they do. You need to go talk to them. I think there's also opportunity to do that. Like, I love that about, like, when we don't do something, I love referring it to another competitor and saying, go check out these guys. I've done that many times over my career.
And we do that as well. There's a certain niche we have. We know what it is. We know how to live in it. If it's something different, I mean, it happens all the time. Really, we like, hey, you probably need to talk to somebody else, and we know who those people are, so we can advise them to get good help at those locations. But no, I really appreciate your openness and you're taking your time to share with us. Is there anything you'd like for people to know about Shed University, or how they can find Shed University or Farm and Yard, both of those entities? Because, we're going to want people not only to learn from you, but also know how to reach out and find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are, as far as Farm and Yard, just any of our socials. So Farm and Yard on Instagram and Farm and Yard on Facebook. And then on TikTok, I actually just do it under my personal name, Travis Beachy. So there's a little bit of family content in there, but mostly shed content. So give me a follow there, reach out there. My email is travis@farmandyardtx.com. So if I can help anybody, feel free to email me there. I love supporting and helping other sales professionals, or even anybody really in the industry. I certainly don't know it all, but I love to share what I know and help other people if I can. And then as far as Shed University, so we are right in the middle of getting our website built out. So our website is not live yet, but our Facebook page is. We try to post content there every day, and sometimes it's just a funny meme, and sometimes it's a really valuable piece of content that can change your business. And so that's just search Shed University on Facebook for that. We're also on Instagram there. We've got a TikTok account, but we haven't been posting any content there yet. But Facebook and Instagram, just Shed University. And then we've got our live event coming up sometime in Q4 of this year. That is, word on the street is it's going to be somewhere in the Central Time Zone. So we are still, we're 99% there on nailing down the venue. We've still got a little bit to go. But I don't know when this podcast is going to come out. We may have announced it by then, but it's going to be somewhere in the Central Time Zone, somewhere in the greater Tennessee area. So, and we love to connect. If you're in the shed industry, hit me up. I love building my network and friendships in the shed industry.
Awesome.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I just challenge everybody, regardless of industry. A rising tide raises all ships. Yep. Don't be afraid to reach out 100%. A hand and help somebody. So really appreciate you just being so open, Travis, and sharing this time with us.
Hey, you bet. One other thing, if I can, something else that I'm really passionate about, just on that topic that you mentioned, is in the shed industry, we get so worried about having our little secrets and having our little things that we do and not sharing with other people. And I like what you said there about generosity. That is something that is I personally believe in, and that, with Shed University, that generosity is such a better strategy than trying to hold things tight to your vest and thinking that if you shared this one little secret with somebody else and now they're gonna be bigger and overtake you. We believe in generosity. We believe in that nobody is like you. So you can literally, there's a reason that I'm not, there's a reason that I don't have a yacht out in the middle of the ocean or a private jet. I've not attained the knowledge and the skills to be able to afford those things yet. So there's a reason that nobody can duplicate you. You can literally share everything that you know about something to someone, give all your secrets away, but they're not you. They're not going to be able to, they may not be able to execute it the way you do. It may not fit their personality the way it fits your personality. There's a lot of magic in who you are and how something gets executed. And so you sharing your knowledge with someone else does not take away from you. It only adds to the greater good. And the greater good is, the greater it is for everybody. So just something else that we're super passionate about. It's another kind of, myth and kind of walls that I would love to break down in the shed industry is to just be more generous with each other and know that there's nobody like you. There's nobody that can ever duplicate or be you. And that's really where the magic is.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's just in so many industries, but generosity is huge. We cannot ever have too much generosity, and gratitude's another one that I would throw in there. Just be
huge,
super great, grateful for the things we have and what we can share.
Yep.
So with that, Travis, we'll let you go, and thanks a lot for today.
It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Love the conversation.
You bet.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.